Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine Vanchakaupatarubhescha Kripa Sindhubheva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Antah pravishya mama vachim imam prasuptam sanjeevayata kila shakti darak svadamna Anyamsya hasta charana shravanat bhagadim pranannamo bhagavate purushaya tubhyam Svasyasta vishwasya kalah prasidatam jayantu bhutani shivam mithodya Manascha badram bhajata tadoksajam aveshyatam naumati ratyahai tuki Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
I will just introduce.
Yes, please.
So here, Balram Shakti Prabhu, he organizes regularly for us online classes. Morning we have Bhagavatam based on Vishnu Chakra Thakur, and then we have afternoon we discuss on Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu and 10th canto Bhagavatam Acharya's commentaries, and then we discuss on Bhakti Sandarbha and different books we are doing. So he's systematically doing from last quite 10 years like that. And we have a website also, all the lectures. We have completed many books and discussion. Manasiksha, Upadeshamrita, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Bhagavad Gita, and now Bhagavatam, we are in 4th canto. And he is taking other books also. We have completed, and recently the article which you have written, we have almost discussed for 20 days. It was very elaborate discussion on the article. And we heard this lecture on Sangha Siddha Bhakti and Arop Siddha Bhakti. So we had some doubts on it. So we want to get clarified with that. So this is
okay.
So we have a website also. He will show in the end.
Okay.
Maybe do it later.
Yeah.
So, what did you say, Balaram Shakti Prabhu?
As a person, so much for things to come up. It's an honor, and we have been actually on Bhakti Sandarbha when you sing this pics of the Bhakti and so the Bhakti we churning lot of but there was some clarity which was not come to it. There were notes which are all so yes.
We are not able to hear you.
Your sound is not so clear. Sometimes it breaks.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is it audible?
It's
no, still it's breaking.
Try it again.
Oh, it's breaking.
It seems to be better.
So Maharaj, I was telling we have been discussing Bhakti Sangha for last more than one and a half years now. So recently we got the Swarup, the Sangha and Arop section, and some linked doubts we could not complete on that particular subject matter. We thought if you could spend some give us some. We thought.
Yeah, if you have some specific questions, because to give thorough presentation on this subject matter, I need to also refresh a little bit and meditate more thoroughly. But I was not prepared. I thought that we will discuss the article. But yeah, if there are some specific questions on this 3 kinds of bhakti, then we can talk a little bit about this. Yes.
Yes, we have questions. You just add after another. Question mark is that Shilajit Swami, he uses terminologies Rupa Siddha, Siddha, and Swarupa Siddha.
Mm-hmm.
Shila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur is Adani Bhuta, Bhuta and Shakti.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of activities alone, it looks goal. Jiva Goswami, in Swarupa Siddha also, we can perform Swarupa Siddha for material goals also, we perform Swarupa Siddha for living. But in terms of actions alone, it looks more like Aropa Siddha sounds like Guni Bhuti, and Sankhya Bhakti sounds more like Prati Bhuta Bhakti. Is this understanding correct, or is there, are we missing out?
Yeah, I think you are right in your understanding. But yeah, if we repeat the question, okay, I should repeat the question for another group here. It's a technical question, so I'm little. I don't know if we should discuss such technical things with the group of people who are not so deeply into these technicalities. But in any case, the question is about Swarupa Siddha Bhakti, Sangha Siddha Bhakti, and Aropa Siddha Bhakti, and in relationship to the similar classification which is given by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Can you repeat it? Pradhani? What is the first one? Because I'm not.
Pradhani Bhuti, Guni Bhuti, and Shuddha.
Yeah. Pradhani Bhutadi.
Pradhani Bhuta Bhakti, Guni Bhuta Bhakti, and
Yeah.
Shuddha.
Yeah. So if we only take the action itself and don't take the intention into the picture, then it's correct understanding. Yes, they correspond pretty closely to each other.
Thank you. That's what we thought.
Yeah.
And question that I had was, Shilajit Swami is quoting the Yat Rashi Yadashna verse, an example of Siddha Bhakti. So, but see, Shila Vishwanath Chakravarti for his Bhagavad commentary quotes it in terms of Adani Bhuta Bhakti, Mishra Bhakti. So that's where is coming.
What I should say is that there are different classifications given by different acharyas. They're trying to explain the same subject matter, which is bhakti, from slightly different angles of vision, and classify it to be applied in a particular practical context. It's better not to mix different systems and try to create one logically coherent system while mixing different systems. They are logically coherent within itself, but when we try to crossbreed them, so to speak, there will be some confusion. Because it's still somewhat different angles, and it's a natural tendency, but I would say somewhat mistaken tendency to try and bring everything into one complete, comprehensive picture. Because acharyas were writing, first of all, for different audiences. Like Prabhupada was specifically addressing very concrete kind of audience, right? Those people who are new, and therefore he has to translate so many things into English without complicating his language with too many Sanskrit words, even though Sanskrit words are much more exact and up to the point. So he has to say that Dharma is religion. Of course, we know that Dharma is not only religion, it can be used as Dharma is Dharma. You cannot really translate Dharma as only religion, because it's a very broad concept, and they are not really semantically even the same. The semantic field of Dharma and religion are quite different. They cross in certain section. So in the same way, acharyas were writing for different audiences, and also they had different purposes in mind. Like if we take Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary on Bhagavad Gita and compare it with Baladev Vidyabhushan commentary of Bhagavad Gita, sometimes they give completely different explanations, even though they have kind of guru-disciple relationship, or shiksha guru and disciple relationship. But it's just the purpose is completely different. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he wants to explain Bhagavad Gita specifically from the point of view of these shades and colors of pure bhakti and different mixtures of bhakti. So he dedicates his entire commentary to stress or to discriminate the pure bhakti from different kind of admixture bhakti, because it's all bhakti and Krishna is speaking about bhakti here in the 6th chapter, in the 12th chapter, in the 18th chapter. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is trying to see Bhagavad Gita from this angle of vision, whereas Baladev Vidyabhushan is giving some completely different touch to this matter, and therefore they may even use the same term, but in different context. And if we try to bring everything into one comprehensive system and use the same term, then there will be more confusion. So it's better to stick to a particular system and terminology which they developed specifically for this system and specifically for the purpose of explaining what they want to explain, or bringing message. That's why, if we stick to Bhakti Sandarbha, let's stick to Bhakti Sandarbha and to Srila Jiva Goswami's angle of vision, how he is trying to explain this. Too much crossbreeding can be helpful, but can be also confusing. Sometimes it's helpful because it creates, it gives different dimension to the whole picture, and gives deeper understanding. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur calls Balatutpadita Shraddha, and Srila Jiva Goswami calls Shastriya Shraddha, or the face into the meaning of the Shastra. So Shastrartha Shraddha or something like this. So, if we compare these two terminology, it's different terminology used in different contexts, but we can see the use, and using the different terminology can enhance our understanding. why Shastriya Shraddha is not, there is this, there is Lokika Shraddha and Balatutpadita Shraddha. Why Lokika Shraddha, in another system, we can quite safely say is called Balatutpadita Shraddha or forced Shraddha. Then it can give us a deeper understanding of what Lokika Shraddha means by comparing different terminology. But again, it's not always productive. Sometimes it's counterproductive and maybe confusing. That's what I have to say.
Thank you very much. I'll something very practical. So when we were discussing this Aropasya Bhakti and Sangasiddha Bhakti, so we had two clear parties, had two different opinions. One party felt that and sadhakas and sadhakas less proper understanding of the Siddhanta and we are practicing Bhakti and we practice Aropasiddha Bhakti. So one party felt no, another party felt yes, can practice Aropasiddha Bhakti. So question is like, let's say when a sadhaka takes, so take bath is not an activity which is forms the stupa of bhakti, but at the same time we are performing, we are taking bath so that we can remain fresh for chanting the holy. Would that taking bath as Aropasya Bhakti or would call it as what? That's where we got the whole question. What would
if every time when you take bus you feel guilty that you're doing some Aropasiddha Bhakti, I don't think it will be conducive for your practice of Bhakti. So for the sake of encouragement and enthusiasm, it's much better to think that this is a part of my Swarupa Siddha Bhakti. So it's a preparation for Swarupa Siddha Bhakti. This classification, we should understand why Srila Jiva Goswami gives this classification. Again, we can again say, this is Aropa Siddha Bhakti is Karma Mishra, and Sada Siddha Bhakti is Jnana Mishra Bhakti, and then Shuddha Bhakti is Swarupa Siddha Bhakti. But basically, he wants to say that certain activities by the dint of its Swarupa Shakti, which is there in this activity, they constitute Bhakti and therefore they are independently powerful. Whereas some other activities, because they don't have this Shakti invested in them, they can be useful and they're okay and there's nothing wrong with them in the context of Bhakti, but they just don't have this intrinsic power of bringing out Bhakti. So that's it. That's his explanation and the purpose of his explanation. Let's not. He wants to elevate this Navavida Bhakti or Swarupa Siddha Bhakti to a special category or to a special level, because even if the intention is not 100% pure, still the activity itself is so powerful that it awakens Bhakti. And other activities, they may not have such, invested in them power, and therefore we should be careful by calling them Bhakti, and we can only call them Bhakti if the proper intention is there or if they are preparation from this Bhakti. So we should understand this from this practical point of view. When we start arguing, is it Svarupa Siddha Bhakti or Rupa Siddha Bhakti, it becomes just useless argument. Because this is not the purpose. The purpose is to stress and emphasize the power of this Navavida Bhakti and over any other kinds of activities, and to say that if we're engaged in these activities, it will invoke Bhakti Shakti, and Bhakti Shakti will somehow or other will be in touch with it. That's it. Yes. Are you saying something? Or?
Hare Krishna. Can you hear, Maharaj? Is it audible?
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Very clarification. So in Srimad Bhagavatam,
No, now we lost you. We lost you. We don't hear you.
Qualification meant. Do we have? Is it
Not audible too. We are not able to hear you. We are not able to hear you.
You just give me time to drink more water.
I'm really sorry. Is it audible now?
Yeah, it's audible.
So sorry, Maharaj. Maharaj, I was just telling that in Bhagavatam there's a clear cut adhikar or qual given for karma, jnana, bhakti, like that. Again, verses like Chaya, Matkata, and so on. So those verses very clearly they define adhikar, bhakti. So similarly, our Aropa Siddha Bhaktas, are they a category? Is it that they are a category with a specific adhikar, or do we understand?
Well, if you more or less make the philosophy, like I know some devotees, unfortunately, who are nice devotees, followers of Srila Prabhupada, but because of certain mistakes or whatever, certain misrepresentation of bhakti in the beginning, when there was too much stress on this fanatical kind of pure bhakti and nothing else, they started stressing too much performing your duties. You become a good grihasta, you lead good grihasta life, and that's okay, to bring balance into imbalanced system, which was definitely there. But then what they made the whole philosophy out of it, that only if you follow your duties, only if you perform your duties and you are, nicely performing your duties as a grihasta and doing this and that, they created the whole philosophy. Then only it's bhakti, and everything else is not real bhakti, this and that. So in this particular case, when they created the whole philosophy out of this not mistaken, but the the emphasis is somewhat shifted. The whole philosophy of it, yes, you can call them Aropa Siddha Bhaktas. You can clearly call them that they are promoting Aropa Siddha Bhakti as Bhakti. And they do have Bhakti, they hear, they chant, they speak about this, but on the similar level, they put this performing your duties. So it's basically for them the same. They equate this, and it's very, you know, kind of very much glued together in one thing, in one philosophy. So in this case, yes, if you make a certain philosophy, and if you call Bhakti that only Bhakti is this, like I remember one funny episode from my own life. I was giving Srimad Bhagavatam class, and I think it was on the verse, I'm not sure, but perhaps it was on the verse Shinvatah Svakatah Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana, or something like this. And I was basically explaining very simple, straightforward philosophy that our bhakti starts with hearing Krishna Katha and speaking about this, and specifically I was stressing this Srinvatah, the hearing process. And it was long ago, it was probably 97 or 98, 1998. And at that time, there was one particular prevalent or dominating philosophy in Russian part of ISKCON is that bhakti means you should just, you know, you should do everything fanatically for Krishna, as much practical thing as possible, distribute books or earn money and give to Krishna. And this is only bhakti. If you are just doing this, then this is the bhakti. Everything else is just not bhakti, it's jnana at best. So my lecture really offended some of the quite a significant section of the audience, and one outspoken person who was specifically trained to recognize and to discriminate pure quote-unquote bhakti from all jnana kinds of it, when you too much stress the hearing and all this kind of useless waste of time activities. So he raised his hand and said, you know, what are we following? Are we following Bhakti Yoga or are we following Shravana Yoga? And I was so puzzled by this question because for me, Shravana was the beginning of Bhakti. But for him, it was a completely different thing. So what I mean to say is that you can make a philosophy out of all this mixed kind of bhakti. And then if you make a philosophy out of it and preach it, and practice it, and even, you know, promote it very strongly, then definitely it can be called Aropa Siddha Bhakti, and you could be called Aropa Siddha Bhakta. And but you will never know that you are Aropa Siddha Bhakti because you don't have time to read Srila Jiva Goswami Bhakti Sandarbha. You're too busy with other things.
Thank you, Fred. So basically, if someone preaches or themselves feel that pranashrama duties are non-negotiable within the realm of bhakti, then that is Aropa Siddha Bhakti.
Yes.
So
yes.
Then,
if you stress too much, and if you equate them, and if you put it on the same level, it's Aropa Siddha Bhakti. No doubt about it.
Thank you, Maharaj. So basically, I will digress a little bit from topic because it's also very relevant. Oftentimes, this question that Srila Goswami and the other acharyas are very clear. So Srila says, Varnashrama is not a limb of bhakti. It is not a part of bhakti. It actually only contaminates bhakti very clearly. But having said that, there are statements of Srila Prabhupada about Varnashrama, which we all know. So basically, rather than asking what Prabhupada meant, I would like to know what is the basic hermeneutical principle when there seems to be a very clear stance when the Purva-acharyas have taken, and the current Acharya is presenting something which seems to be somewhat sometimes different. So what is the hermeneutical principle that we need to use to understand the statement?
We need to understand the context. The most important hermeneutical principle always to take the context of this statement and put it in a proper context. When Srila Rupa Goswami and Vijnana Chakravarti Thakur and Jiva Goswami commenting on Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, this particular verse, now very clearly saying that Varnashrama should not be, is not a limb of bhakti. It should be taken, first of all, in a very direct sense, but with understanding that the audience where they preach and the whole situation was too much emphasis on Varnashrama, and Varnashrama was so sacred and so strong, all these duties, then it overshadowed bhakti. And it basically kind of brought bhakti to a lower level, and therefore, we have this statement that this is, this is for women and for some illiterate people, and there are higher paths and everything else. So they put it in proper perspective. What Prabhupada is saying, he is basically following Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati himself is following Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who is a very ardent follower of 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. But he was preaching in a completely different context. Again, Bhaktivinoda Thakur brought this subject matter of Varnashrama because of all these foreign influences and everything else which was there, and because of the degradation of Varnashrama system. And therefore he very clearly put it into perspective in Sri Chaitanya Shikshamritam, where he says, yes, Varnashrama is secondary, but it's helpful. And he very beautifully explains that you can practice bhakti without practicing Varnashrama, but the result will be that your life will be shortened. And he gave an example of Jesus Christ and and Paul and something like this, and Haridas Thakur. He said that, that because the cultural environment, which is inimical to Varnashrama, is not very conducive for bhakti, and therefore you can practice bhakti because bhakti is independent. It doesn't depend on cultural environment or anything else. But you can practice bhakti in this hostile cultural environment, which is outside of Varnashrama. But you have to understand that there will be a lot of obstacles coming from these external circumstances and inimical people and everything else. So this is the context which was taken by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati in his preaching of stressing Varnashrama and bringing back, brahmachari system, sannyasi system into our Paramahamsa, culture, which was the culture of the followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Very, very anti-Varnashrama, very black and white kind of thing. Either you are, you practice Paramahamsa and you should be Paramahamsa, and you have nothing to do with all this. Naham Varnin, Nacha Grihapatir, Napivaisyo, Na Shudra, or whatever it is, this famous verse by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. Naham Viprana. Начанара патир напива еще на судра, нахам варни, нача греха патир, наванасто ятирва, кинту продян, Никила Парамананда, Gopi Bhartar, Pada Kamalar, Gopi Dasa Dasa Anudasa. So that's the original philosophy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and we cannot change it. Nobody changed it. Srila Prabhupada didn't change it. Bhaktivinoda Thakur didn't change it. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati didn't change it. But they also saw the utility of Varnashrama system, that it's more favorable for practice of bhakti. And therefore they preached it because they saw that the culture which is against principles of Varnashrama is very detrimental. And it's a big obstacle. So even though bhakti is independent, still, the obstacles are there in the path of pure bhakti.
Thank you, Maharaj.
So we should take the context, and it will become very clear in the context.
So Maharaj, then again coming back to the topic, so then if then how do you understanding the importance of that Varnashrama still being the practitioners and preachers of Aropa Suddha Bhakti?
Can you repeat it again? Still, okay?
Yeah, I was just asking then, this explanation that you have given, how do we balance, understand the importance of Varnashrama, and at the same time not becoming preachers, followers of Aropa Siddha? How do we do
Okay, yeah. Very, very nice and very important question. Very nicely put. Basically what we see in our present day environment, we see typical conflict because Kali Yuga is full of conflicts. Within ISKCON we have the conflict between quote-unquote traditionalists who very much stress Varnashrama and need of Varnashrama, as opposed to all these liberals. And you can clearly see that those who put too much stress on, again, quote-unquote tradition, without offending anyone, I really, saying this, I don't want to offend anyone, I don't mean anyone in particular, but it's definitely kind of karma influence or karma element mixed with bhakti, which is fighting against the Jnana Mishra Bhakti, because all these liberals who accept everyone and anyone, and homosexuals also have a right to practice bhakti, and this and that, which is obviously kind of jnana element. Everyone is equal, everyone is the same, all the paths lead to the same goal, and without being too much conscious that they have this admixture of jnana in their understanding of bhakti. They are very much into this liberal understanding of bhakti and preach it to very vigorously. And there is, of course, an opposite party which is saying that this is all wrong, let's do this, and they preached instead of Jnana Mishra Bhakti, Karma Mishra Bhakti. Whereas Bhakti is actually, Bhakti has the power to reconcile the contradictions. As soon as this very fierce argument between the two opposites, which cannot really find anything good in each other, arises, we can clearly, again, for ourselves, not again for calling somebody by names, we can clearly see that there is lacking of this synthesizing power of Bhakti. Bhakti has the power to reconcile the contradictions and harmonize the contradictions. If we put Bhakti first, then we can clearly see how the Varnashrama principles are important and how they should be employed, and how the this universal or how to say, this liberal nature of Bhakti should be employed but not misused. So we should understand that if we emphasize Bhakti, we emphasize together with Bhakti, along with Bhakti, the power of harmonizing contradictions, bringing together contradictions, finding the proper grounds, because Bhakti has this power. It's Krishna. Krishna is full of contradictions, but his Shakti is inconceivably, harmonizes this contradiction. And actually the power to harmonize the contradiction is called Bhakti, or it's called love. If there is love, there is no contradiction. You can, you can respect and understand what these people mean, and perhaps, dealing with them, explain to them that we're not against Varnashrama. We very much want all these traditional principles to be established, but we also, see the reality, and let's not pick faults. If somebody is not capable of following, this glorious and very high principles of Varnashrama purity, after all, we are in Kali Yuga, but Bhakti can compensate for our lack in following Varnashrama. If this is there, then we can preach Varnashrama with understanding that it's not going to override or overshadow Bhakti. Did I answer your question?
Hey, Raj. Thank you. Thank you much, Maharaj. But I had a particular understanding, maybe you can correct me. I was just thinking, accept any principle, that it is Varnashrama or any other principle, as long as it the mode of Anupisa Sankalpam Punyashavat. What is Anupal Bhakti? We accept whatever is for Bhakti. What we accept as being Anupal for Bhakti may incidentally also fall within the realm of Varnashrama, but our acceptance of that activity or that principle is based on the Bhakti Shastras, and it is based on the principle of Anukulya Sankalpo Pratyasa Varjanam. So then, in case, even if there is an incidental overlap of that activity with Varnashrama, it is perfectly fine. Is this understanding correct, Maharaj? Or should we actually try to learn all the details of Varnashrama from Shastras and try to follow them because they are be favorable bhakti? How do we understand?
No, I think you're absolutely correct. And actually, this is what is explained in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu itself, where Srila Rupa Goswami says that there are principles, basic principles, which I'm explaining in this book. And there is so much details about the practice of bhakti, but if we overlook even the details of bhakti, what to speak about details of varnashrama, but to follow the main principles of bhakti, then it's okay. And that's exactly why Srila Prabhupada didn't want to translate Hari Bhakti Vilas, because in Hari Bhakti Vilas there is so much emphasis on details, which is coming from Shastra, and you can be easily confused by all these details, and each and every little activity is glorified as the most important, and this and that. So by giving too much importance to the details, which we definitely have a tendency to as a conditioned living entities, we like, it's a very it's something by which we can be easily proud. This is something which breeds pride. I'm so paka, Brahmana or Vaishya or Kshatriya. I don't know who can be paka Kshatriya these days, but or I'm following these little details so paka, and I'm following Ekadashi so paka, and I'm not even, like there was this very good example actually of it, when devotees, they started learning more about this Ekadashi and the details, and then they found out that sometimes some rice flour or wheat flour is added to haldi powder, and therefore haldi should not be used on Ekadashi because there may be some little mixture of this. And they asked Srila Prabhupada, can we use kurkuma, can we use haldi, turmeric on Ekadashi? And Srila Prabhupada, he started asking what's going on, and they told them, we just heard that there could be some little mixture of grains there. Srila Prabhupada said, I never told you all this stupid details. Just follow the principle. I told you simple things. Simple things is just don't eat grains. Don't complicate your life by getting into this too much details, because you can easily become proud for following all these details and having this understanding that I'm so paka, and at the same time overlook the main principle. Like sometimes, again, without meaning anyone in particular, I can see that those people who are vigorously preaching some varnashrama, let's say, or some other things, they at the same time neglect the most important principle of varnashrama, which is the respect to senior and senior Vaishnavas and senior people who are more advanced than you, at least more advanced in age in your practice. They become so fanatical in their eagerness and desire to preach the glories of varnashrama that they, condemn people who are much more senior than them, which is the violation of the most fundamental and basic principle of varnashrama. You cannot imagine varnashrama without the principle of respect. Respect for brahmanas, respect for, respect. It's a universal principle. Whoever is, more senior or more advanced than you. This is the culture of the very fabric of varnashrama is based on this respect. So you are absolutely right. We should not, as much as possible, we should follow the details, but we should not be entangled into details. And we should definitely not be proud about following the details, especially if it makes us forgetful about the major principles.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Actually, I have been asking all the questions. There are many people who have a lot of questions. I apologize if anyone has any questions. You can please raise your hands and you can ask.
We're already speaking for 1 hour, and I can still answer 1-2 questions, but not too many.
Yes, Maharaj. Guys, anyone else would like to ask any question? You can please. And Maharaj has few more minutes.
And my apology again. I do not want to offend anyone. I really don't want to offend anyone. It's just, one most important principle of Bhakti is humility, principle of humility. And we should not forget about this, that this is the essence of Bhakti, and expressed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yes?
One question.
Yes.
Like, this is also what we discussed, that for devotees there is no karma. So can you just address that point, how to understand this?
What is karma? Karma means that you have particular intention while performing your activity. You want to enjoy the result, or you want to avoid some negative consequences, and that's why you're performing this. If you're performing certain activities without this intention whatsoever, if the only intention which you have is the intention to please Krishna by your activity, then there is no karma. But if somewhere in the background of your consciousness you still, want to enjoy the results of your activity, or want to avoid some pain, then there will be karma, no matter what, because we are living in this system. So there is no karma when there is no intention. Yes, this Shakti. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Yes.
Maharaj, sorry, but I have this doubt. When this four relative principle, one of principle is implicit sex. Then sexuals claiming that perform that very part I am to understand.
Oh, can you repeat this second part? So illicit sex, what is it? What about it?
The very contradict with this homosexual, right? First of all, not even that principle called the regulative principle, right? How liberal something works you're using, how I try to understand.
I don't know. I don't belong to this liberal class, so I don't know. But please don't ask me these questions, because I cannot. I cannot claim to represent properly this kind of philosophy, so I'm not an advocate. But I guess their idea is that, anyway, I don't want even to repeat their idea. So, no, let's not go to this level of discussion.
Okay, Maharaj, Hare Krishna.
Can I just add something related to this? Not hopefully putting you in any embarrassment. Maharaj, if someone desire for illicit sex or any kind of sex is a kind of conditioning. So the people are conditioned in different ways. Less kind of conditioning. So if there may be people who are attracted to the opposite sex. There may be people attracted to the same sex because of whatever conditioning they have.
Okay.
As long as repentant, they know that not justified. We cannot say that they are not qualified to practice Bhakti. right?
Of course, of course, of course. Yes, if everyone has this sinful tendencies, and sometimes this tendency can, take some forms which are outside of kind of, normal things. But as long as we understand that this is my karmically, induced tendency, and as long as one doesn't make a philosophy out of it, again, that's the main point. If we make philosophy out of it, if we philosophize and justify my deficiencies or faults by explaining it in some, lofty way, then it's bad. But if we are repentant, if we see this, and if we try to overcome this tendency, then there's nothing wrong. It's perfectly all right for such people, and they are definitely qualified to practice bhakti. And in fact, Srila Prabhupada would admire them. He said, see how much he is struggling for bhakti. And he received a letter from somebody who started again taking drugs and was very much repentant and saying, Prabhupada, I just cannot overcome this tendency. And Prabhupada started crying and say, see how much he's struggling for Krishna. Srila Prabhupada was very appreciative because he saw the sincerity of the heart and the weaknesses. And Krishna also knows our weaknesses, but he also sees our sincerity and the struggles which we are undergoing.
Maharaj, there are two hands up. Do you thank?
Yes. Kishori Priya
Yes.
and Gail. Yeah. Yes. Yes, Kishori Priya.
Then pronounce Maharaj. So in some Sandarbha, Jiva Goswami has written about Rup Siddha Bhakti. Even when mouse, he did a stale accidentally and just ran on the altar, performed. So
Yes.
here the intent was not there at all to please Krishna. Still he got so much of benefit, like, and that's why I stress that Swarupa Bhakti is the highest all these. So devotees who are actually intentfully doing any devotional activity, like, so I think that be of prime importance rather than all these other iterations.
So exactly, could you repeat the question? The last question, last sentence? The devotee who is?
So because the activity itself is very good, that's what I understood, that in the Swarup Siddha Bhakti, the activity itself of doing action, some kind of duty to the Lord is very potent and purifying in the process of bhakti. So if a devotee, if he is Karma Mishra level he is, but because he knows goal and he's doing any kind of activity, I think he would be progressing on the path of bhakti.
See, he will definitely progress on the path of bhakti, but as much as the activities of Svarupa Siddha Bhakti are powerful, the opposite to Svarupa Siddha Bhakti, or offenses, are also very powerful. So if we sincerely doing something on our level, and inevitably we mix some kind of karma and call this karma as bhakti, that's okay, that's fine. But if, again, we create a philosophy which calls all these things bhakti or equates everything to bhakti, this is an offense against bhakti. And this offense will become an obstacle in our path. Why this little mouse or rat was so successful? Because it was not offensive. So that's why it achieved these glorious results. But we may not be we may not be as fortunate as the mouse, because while performing some Swarup Siddha Bhakti, we also can perform offenses which will be detrimental to the power of Bhakti to act upon us. Bhakti is powerful, but it's the example which is given, I think, by Jiva Goswami himself is this Chandrakant, or this special gem which acts against the power of fire. You know, the fire can burn, but if this Chandrakanta gem or whatever money is there, Surya, whatever. So it just neutralizes the power of the the fire to act. In the similar way, offenses they neutralize this Shakti of Bhakti to act, of Swarup Siddha Bhakti activities.
Thank you, Maharaj. Yeah.
Yes, Gail?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Yeah, my question is referring to definition that you gave earlier, karma, where you find it as wanting to perform an activity for your own selfish interest, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was wondering how that definition relates to those of us who are aspire to become pure devotees of Krishna, who want to come to the point where we want to act exclusively for Krishna's pleasure, but at the present moment we're conditioned, and so therefore we do succumb from time to time to our selfish desires that are really for Krishna's pleasure. In which cases do you call that karma also?
Well, we're on a level of sadhana. We are sadhakas. Sadhakas are not siddhas. They have not yet reached the level of perfection, or have not reached yet the goal. So if we perform sadhana, inevitably there will be some deviations or faults. Inevitably, you know, our sadhana, you know, basically on the level of sadhana, it's very difficult to perform pure bhakti, because pure bhakti means anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karma dhanavritam. And who is completely free from anya abhilash, the other desires. Only if you are on the level of prema or bhava, then you're free from other desires on the levels of this. But again, if you're consciously trying this, like what is inoffensive chanting? It's not that you're only free from all the offenses when you're completely free. So how you can be free if you are still on the level of practice? So if you consciously are trying to avoid this other kind of desires or activities which are unfavorable for Krishna, displeasing to him, displeasing to or unfavorable to your practice of bhakti, then it's okay, even if sometimes subconsciously or whatever something is okay. It basically means, you know, we know that the main offense is inattentiveness. So what does it mean? Does it mean that, you know, you have to chant 16 rounds of Hare Krishna mantra without even deviating once from, from the sound of the holy name? No, of course not. It means that whenever we consciously noticed that we are inattentive, we should bring our attention back. In the same way, as long as we notice that our intention is wrong, then we should bring our intention back into the right place, and that's called sadhana. Sadhana doesn't mean that we perform everything perfectly. Sadhana means that we always return to the perfect state on a conscious level and make it sadhana. That's the labor in sadhana, always to bring us back into the right place. Even though we will be constantly deviating, because that's the nature of our conditioned mind and body and everything, of our conditioning, basically. So that's the definition of sadhana. Therefore, you shouldn't call it karma. You're not performing karma. You're performing sadhana as long as, again, you sincerely, consciously are returning your mind into the proper place, in the proper position. And knowing that this is the ideal, and do not try to bring down the ideal to the level of your conditioning or of your, of your faulty nature. So,
yes. Thank you, Maharaj. It's clear.
All right, I guess we should finish now.
No, can you show the Bhakti Grantha site?
Maharaj, do you want to? Can it?
Uh,
Or maybe later, Maharaj.
yeah, I can. Yeah, we can maybe. Yeah, I would be very happy. Actually, I heard so much about you, especially in connection with your Manak Shiksha series, because some people said that you even wrote, you even read from the book or referred to the book.
We did discuss on that book only, Maharaj. Gurula Mataji's book.
Ah,
That was only discussed. Whole book was discussed. It went for 3 years.
Yes, I heard so much about your classes, and I'm really thankful. So many people glorified you, and this is very, it's really commendable. Really beautiful.
Just that way of engaging myself, Maharaj, that's all. Devotees are so wonderful. When they come together, it's so enlivening to discuss.
Yeah, that's the best way. Yeah, it's low battery. Yeah, yes, we can go through this site. I would be Bhakti Grantha.
Yeah, I'll show to Maharaj.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Maharaj.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Maharaj, whenever you have time, if you can give us some time, anytime, according to your convenience, we'll be very grateful to have you.
Always be happy. Let me see what's there in the chat.
There are some questions, Maharaj.
There are some questions.
Yeah.
Anyway, so let's next
Later,
time.
Maharaj, whenever you have time, Maharaj.
Okay. Thank you.
You can switch on the videos once Maharaj would like to see all of it.
Yeah. Yes. 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 Show some other screens there. Anyway. Okay, anyway, let's. Thank you. Thank you very much to everyone. Yes, I saw Keshav. Okay.